Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and this is something that I've wanted to talk about for a little bit, coming off the heels of the Game Awards, and now we have let it kind of settle in a little bit. We are just a couple weeks away from the release of a brand new free-to-play hero shooter from Wildlight Entertainment. It's coming from the creators of Apex Legends and Titanfall. It is going to be a totally free title. It is a live service game, and this game may have been one of the biggest disaster game reveals that I have ever seen in my life. And it's insane to me, and I have to do a little bit speculation because the game was revealed as the big finale announcement at the Game Awards, and seeing that as the big finale at the Game Awards, I was just in absolute disbelief. I couldn't believe it because nobody in their right mind, if they are even a little bit in touch with who is watching the Game Awards and what people watching the Game Awards would want, they would position Highguard as the big finale game announcement. I don't think Jeff Keighley is dumb. I don't think Jeff Keighley is dumb whatsoever. I do believe that Jeff Keighley is relatively in touch with what people that are watching the Game Awards would want. However, also from Jeff Keighley's standpoint, it is a business at the end of the day, and there is a financial aspect to it. It is weighing the financial aspect and also, hey, are people gonna like this? Well, if the finances outweigh it by this much, we gotta put it in that position, and there's a big reason. And at the very least, you can comprehend why Jeff Keighley would position it. I'm sure if there was another publisher with a game that people would be excited for and they were willing to pay what Highguard and the publishers, so who knows where the money came from, because I imagine it was a pretty penny. Maybe they have investors and the investors really wanted it in that position. I don't know. Again, it's a lot of speculation, but this game is an absolute disaster, and the want and the need for hero shooter free-to-play games, I feel like, has never been lower. Live service games in general, I don't think there's an abundance of hero shooters. I just think this style of game with this art style, it's just not something people want, and this game was such a bad reveal that I might rank this above the Concord reveal for worst reveals, and the promotional aspect of Concord, it is just becoming absolutely bewildering to me. Okay, I can understand why Jeff Keighley would make that decision. If he's getting paid deep into the seven figures to position Highguard as the finale of the Game Awards, not only are you making seven figures, but it will be a new bar that is being set. If they are willing to set a bar and Jeff Keighley's like, yo, these guys are paying X amount of dollars in future Game Awards, I can tell the publishers that want a presence at the Game Awards, look, the show is so big, Wildlight Entertainment paid X amount to get that finale spot. You better pay X amount if you want your game in that slot. That's the only rationale I can accept and I can only comprehend, because I know Jeff Keighley is not stupid. I know that he must have known, bro, people are gonna be so upset with this game being the finale, but we got the bag and we're gonna be out of here. That is the only way I can comprehend it, because even go back to the reveal of this game and how this reveal was handled, the big element as far as Jeff Keighley being like, whoa, check this game out, was that it was out soon. And look, I hate long development cycles, 7-8 year development cycles, but whoa, dude, a live service hero shooter is out soon. A brand new IP. Let's get excited. Like, that was his big point, to get people excited. You know, you might not like the game, but it's free and it's out soon, guys. All right, dude, that's enough. But from a Wildlight Entertainment standpoint, and whoever was involved in greenlighting this, it is so insane to me. And it's not just Wildlight Entertainment. I can look at Sony with Concord. It's, how are you this out of touch? How are you this stupid when it comes to where the industry is going, how things are being received online? And you could say online reception is a vocal minority. I agree with that to an extent, but guess what? At this stage of the game, so many people are online. This isn't like, oh, this is just nerds in their mother's basement. Some of it is just us in our mother's basement. I will concede that fact, but I think it does exceed beyond that, and you can't ignore that. And you have to utilize social media metrics and what people are talking about, at least least in some way to tailor your game being promoted, because guess what? This game could have been revealed in the middle of the show. Wildlight Entertainment probably would have saved some money, and people would have just been like, oh, whatever, it's a hero shooter, it's out in a couple weeks, and you know what? People wouldn't have clowned on it this much. But if you were to tell me Highguard was gonna be revealed in this way prior to the Game Awards, and I know hindsight is 2020, but it's not just me. I think anybody with a single functioning brain cell that is remotely into video games would tell you this is an awful idea. However, they still went through with it. I wonder if in the meetings was Jeff Keighley like, yo, I don't know if this is a good idea. Are you sure you want it as the concluding game? I think it would have even been positioned better as the opening game, because at least then you'll be like, oh, we got so much more show to go through, and there will be other announcements, and it's in one ear out the other. But when it's that lasting impression, it is so bad, and leaving this kind of awful impression for a live service game, it is terrible, because live service games live and die on their community base, and maybe this game will be good, and maybe when the game comes out, it ultimately will be really good and the player base will be there. However, now you are fighting such an uphill battle, and guess what? Has the promotion been there for Highguard after this game's reveal at the Game Awards? No, because you want to know why? The second they upload a trailer, they're gonna be roasted and clowned on in the comments section. Some people may be like, oh, they're getting a lot of attention. Like, dude, this isn't good. I know we want to be like all attention is good attention, but when you are an absolute laughingstock, and you're a laughingstock based on spending a ton of money, because that is the only conclusion I can come to, spending a ton of money on the closing slot, which this could have been easily avoided. It is so insane to me, and we see this over and over again with publishers, developers, whoever's in charge of this. And again, I don't blame Jeff Keighley. I know a lot of people want to clown on Jeff Keighley. I truly believe they offered him a bag that he could not refuse. And again, when it comes to the long-term prospect of the Game Awards, if it's a bag that's so big that is setting a new standard of what that closing game is going to offer and what it's going to charge if you do want that slot, I can understand from his standpoint why you would want to do that. Now, if Highguard comes out and it's shut down this year, I feel like that would be a gigantic black eye to Jeff Keighley, because while I can comprehend, dude, they gave him a bag and it was probably such a big bag he couldn't turn it down. That's the only conclusion. I have no factual statement. I have no evidence that this is the case, but that is the only thing I can comprehend, because I truly don't believe that Jeff Keighley is dumb. And he must have known, at the very least, that it was a possibility. Oh, buddy, I'm gonna reveal this game, and I'm gonna get absolutely cooked. But that bag is too big. And you know what? Fair play to the man. Fair play to the man, because like I said, if it sets a new standard for him on what he can charge for Game Awards positioning, hey, more power to him. But for the game itself, this is what I don't understand. Who was in charge of this? Wildlight Entertainment, you're coming from the creators of Apex Legends and Titanfall? You know how the online community is. Was nobody there to come out and be like, guys, this isn't a good idea. Why are we spending this kind of money for this positioning? At least, again, you could have spent some money and getting on the Game Awards. I don't have a problem with that, but just that positioning and this being the lasting impression, cooked. Absolutely cooked you. And guess what? Because you were in that finale position as well, and people were expecting something big, some people were thinking it's a Titanfall 3, even though that wouldn't have been possible because this is a Wildlight Entertainment self-published game. But because it's that concluding game, that is what people are just going to think. And you might say people are dumb for thinking that. Like, dude, comprehend who is online. Like, understand your audience. It is the final game at the Game Awards, which historically has had a lot of big games. Not to mention, I thought that Game Awards show was pretty darn good, where we had back-to-back Tomb Raider game announcements, where we had Control Resident, where we had the release date reveal of Phantom Blade Zero. We had all of those games, and your concluding game is Highguard. It is Highguard, and when Jeff Keighley is queuing up the trailer and saying that it's coming from the creators of Titanfall or whatever he said, given what you had just seen, I could understand why people are like, oh my god, Titanfall 3 is coming, and then it's perceived to be a bait and switch, and that's what it is. People perceive it to be a bait and switch. Whether or not you want to argue, oh, Titanfall 3 couldn't have even happened, EA wasn't ever even involved in the game. No, the perception is the perception. You're not going to change that by just saying, oh, EA wasn't involved, that's on you. Like, bro, it's on Wildlight Entertainment and whoever was involved for greenlighting this game being the concluding title. I would go as far as to say if Wildlight Entertainment for whatever reason got an offer to put this game on last at the Game Awards and it was given to them as a free slot, I wouldn't even put it free. I wouldn't even take that slot as a free slot to be the concluding game at the Game Awards, because guess what? If you reveal this game at your own time and you're like, well, it's this new multiplayer shooter, we've been trying real hard ever since Apex Legends and Titanfall, and we know people love those games, and this is our reinvention of it. Okay, people would have been like, this is something I'm gonna keep an eye on, but you've done so much damage out of the gate when it comes to Highguard, and it's not just games like Highguard. I remember trailers for games like Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Concord's Burger trailer, the atrocious Fair Game trailer. How does this keep happening for years and years and years, and nobody is there to be like, alright guys, maybe we don't do it this way. Maybe this isn't a good idea. And I care about game promotion. Ultimately, what is game promotion? It's to get people excited about a game. On those aforementioned games, the Fair Game trailer did nothing. Concord came out and it got shut down. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown underwhelmingly performed commercially, and that studio, I believe, was shut down as well. Really liked that game, by the way. I thought that game was really good. Maybe you should have promoted it differently. And Highguard, we'll see what happens, but it's a game you could have promoted in a different way, and at the very least, I would imagine you would have saved a couple bucks on not splurging for the conclusion slot at the Game Awards, and it would be received in a different way. But, you know, toothpaste is out of the tube, hindsight is 2020. I would implore other publishers to learn something, and learn something from Concord, learn something from Fair Game, learn something from Dragon Age Veilguard, learn something from Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, learn something from Highguard. Look, these failures in a vacuum, and I'm not ready to say Highguard is an absolute failure. We gotta wait till January 26th when the game is out, but we have to start learning from these failures, at least at a promotional level. Promote these games properly, and, you know, Concord was probably dead on arrival regardless. Fair Game probably dead on arrival. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, I really think they just cooked themselves with the trailer right out the gate. That debut trailer might be my least favorite debut trailer, because you took a IP like Prince of Persia and you bastardized it so much with that debut trailer, but, you know, it is what it is. That'll do it for me. I think this game is gonna end up being dead on arrival. We shall see. I hope Jeff Keighley got the bag, because I really don't think, and maybe some people think that Jeff Keighley really wants this game to be big. Dude, I think he just got a gigantic bag, and think about it. If that bag was so big that it is raising the bar for the Game Awards positioning slots for the future as well, that's a huge incentive. Think about that. That's not only incentive for this year and that bag, however big it was in a vacuum, but future years to be like, hey, we got this for Highguard last year. Y'all better pay up. Whatever live service game wants to be at the end of this show, y'all better pay up, and we'll put you at the end of the slot. But now, if Highguard comes out, I do think it's gonna be like, maybe that ending slot for a live service game like this doesn't really do much, and in this case, I think it was by far a net negative. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.